It's Beer O'Clock and it's the Beer O'Clock show, Flavour of the Month with Little Leeds Beer House. And this month we are drinking, as Martin opens and spills all over the table.
It's frothy.
It's frothy. We've got the Deya Brewing and Verdant Brew Co. High Plains Drifter, which is an 8% double IPA, which our listeners chose from us.
Yeah, we didn't choose this.
From on the poll. So these are nice big cans as well for us to enjoy, and it's a good job they're big cans as well, because we're joined for the first time ever on Flavour of the Month by a guest.
I feel so privileged.
You should be so privileged and so proud.
There's been no guest on Flavour of the Month before.
No, so welcome Ruth Mitchell
Hi.
to Flavour of the Month. Also at Beer Fairy on Twitter. A little bit of advance notice for people listening to this ahead of this week's main show. You do appear on this week's main show.
You have to put up with me twice.
You have to put up with me twice.
In 1 week.
Sorry.
But we also wanted you to take part in tonight's recording of the High Plains Drifter, because you are a qualified beer sommelier. So we're hoping that you're going to bring some tasting notes
Some facts.
and some facts.
I might be about to disappoint.
And
but
some
thank
stuff
you.
and knowledge. So we've got the beer.
Yep.
Cheers.
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 Well, appearance,
Murky.
Very hazy.
cloudy.
Okay, so different descriptions. But I went for the obvious one.
You went for the obvious.
It is quite murky, but from our look on the Deya website, then we know that's sort of a deliberate move and what they're
It's
aiming
what they
for.
do, isn't
so
it?
It's what they do. So
I'm filtered.
Who are Deya?
so they are based in Cheltenham.
They are based in Cheltenham. They specialise, or from what I've seen from them so far, because they are fairly new to the scene, they specialise in more of your hoppy, big pale IPAs, your pales IPAs, double IPAs, that sort of thing.
Sound right up your streets, though.
They do sound perfect for me, which is why I imagine that most of the people probably voted for this one, because
And the fact that it was murky.
and the fact that it was murky as well. But this is a collab with Verdant Brewing as well, who we featured last month on Flavour of the Month as well. So we know that Verdant are from Cornwall, so quite close in terms of geographically, an obvious coming together of the two breweries.
There seems to be a lot of love for Verdant up north, bearing in mind that where they're from.
I think there's just generally a lot of love for Verdant across the board at the moment. They seem to have done a very good job in terms of getting their beers to a lot of places in the UK. So it does seem as though all of the big bottle shops,
The bottle shops definitely
have got their cans at the moment, and this has been one of those that the minute it hit Twitter a few weeks back, everybody was drinking and everybody was clamouring for. This really is the flavour of the month in terms of the beer that most people have been drinking. What are we thinking about the beer, other than its appearance, which is, as Ruth was saying, what we expect from Deya, because they are quite open on their website that their beers are unfiltered and unpasteurised and naturally hazy as well. What are we getting flavour wise?
Yeah, I think it's really lovely. It's got, for me, quite a sort of distinct pine kind of flavour to it. So a good whack of citrus and a bit of tropical, but it's got sort of a piney palate for me.
It's quite dry at the end for me. There's a dry note which just comes in and then goes in.
It's certainly on trend as far as the juiciness goes for where we are with this style at the moment. A little bit of bitterness in the finish.
It's not as bitter.
For my palate, I'd probably want a bit more
It's
bitterness.
Not as bitter as you kind of expect for a double IPA. For me.
That's true.
No, but again, that's the style at the moment,
Yeah.
isn't it? To produce a big IPA that isn't very bitter.
It's very drinkable, incredibly drinkable.
It's got that very fruity aroma that you associate with this kind of beer these days. It reminds me a bit of the Cloudwater birthday dipper.
Yes, yeah. That was one of my first thoughts, particularly when it came into the glass, was that it's a very similar look to it, similar mouthfeel as well. Lots of tropical fruits going on in there for me. I'm getting maybe a little bit of pineapple.
Don't think there's enough beer though.
In there,
Beer.
not enough
It doesn't taste
beer, as in beery, more.
I need a bit more of the dryness, the bitterness.
More juice than it is beer.
Yeah. for me.
It's interesting. It's got for me, quite a creamy feel
Soft,
to it, and they've got oats in the grist, so that I'd imagine is what's adding that kind of softness and that roundness.
There's quite a lot of people adding oats these days, isn't there, to make that softer mouthfeel, I think.
I quite like that though. I do quite like that softer feel to it. Why it's ticking all the boxes in terms of the flavours, the mouthfeel. I think I'm with you in terms of, personally, I'd prefer a bit more bitter on the finish, and it to taste a little bit more
sharpness,
like beer than fruit juice. But for 8%, incredibly drinkable.
It is very drinkable for an 8%.
Really swiggy. It doesn't taste 8% at all.
No, and that seems to be the trend for the, to coin your phrase, Merc bombs. They don't really taste their ABV, do they?
They don't, but again, that's the style that lends itself to that rather than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of the can? I mean, I noticed there's a whole range of emojis on the back of it as well.
That's really interesting, actually, because this is the first Deya can I've had. So this is more the Deya branding than it is Verdant. And it has got a series of emojis on it. So there are palm trees. There's definitely not pine trees. What can you looking at, Steve? I'm looking at same as you. So we've got palm trees, which I'm assuming means tropical. Then there's a row of peaches. So I'm going for the obvious that there's a peachy flavour. Then there's a row of love-struck teenage eyes, a little bit of a shock face, and then an OK symbol. So I'm going for tropical peachy loveness in terms of the
Steve's wordy description of the emojis.
Yes,
it's an interesting thing to put on the back of a can, though.
It is, and I am wondering whether it's something that they put on all of their cans. Like, so I've only been able to try these. So if anybody has had any Deya cans, can you let us know if the emoji thing is just something they do?
I say for me, the emojis I find a little bit twee. But apart from that, it's actually a really beautiful looking can.
It is a nice
the design can on it is just
it's lovely.
It's just incredible.
So nice.
It works on the tall boy can, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because this squashed down to a 330 wouldn't work the same way, would it?
Yeah.
But just really well thought out, lovely.
And again, from what I've seen from Deya, a lot of their canned releases are in tall boys as well at the moment, and a lot of people saying they've recently released a pale ale in 500 mils as well, which a lot of people are just saying is incredibly drinkable. As well, but I've not been able to get out there. I think it was. Didn't you get the Beer Bods ones to watch box?
Yeah.
They've got a can in there. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So.
I didn't know what that's like as well.
Yes, please do. So that was the beer that people chose for us to drink this month.
So Verdant have been chosen twice.
Verdant have been chosen twice. First time for Deya, and both of those breweries will be appearing at Hop City as well, which is taking place in Leeds at Northern Monk Brew House over the Easter weekend. The lineup there is just incredible in terms of UK and US breweries that are bringing their big hop games in terms of some of the beers that they're going to be bringing. Both of these breweries are represented. From the UK, you've also got the likes of Magic Rock and Cloudwater, and obviously Northern Monk are going to have their beers. Beavertown are there as well. Plus you've got the likes of the Alchemist, Other Half, Owl Farm, and Stig Baguettes as well. So lots of worldwide breweries bringing their hop games to Leeds.
Just the title, Hop City, and at Northern Monk Refectory would have been enough for me anyway.
That's enough to bring you in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
If I could get up there on an Easter weekend, I'd be up for that.
Yeah. There are still a few tickets available. There's going to be a link in the show notes, so if you're interested in going up to Leeds for Hop City, have a click through and see what tickets are available. As well.
Little Leeds Beer House are sponsoring.
Little Leeds Beer House are one of the sponsors of Hop City as well, so you are going to see, hopefully, I believe there might be some special events popping up at Little Leeds Beer House in the week before and the week after as well. But we'll get full confirmation.
Yeah, because you're hoping to get up there, aren't you, Steve?
I am trying to work things so I can appear at Hop City. Appear. No, I don't mean like that. I don't mean that like it's appearing.
You can jump out of a cake.
No, I was thinking more appearing like a genie appearing out of a bottle. Surprise sort of thing. That sort of thing. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to align things so I can at least do a couple of hours at one of the sessions.
Well, it'd be quite cool if you can let us know a bit more about it.
I will do, mate. Believe me. You just need to follow my Twitter feed for that. Yeah. So just coming back to the beer, because we're just finishing this off. Any final thoughts on this?
It's very juicy. I do like it. It is very drinkable. I would still prefer my beers have just a bit more beer qualities, if that's probably the wrong phrase, but
beeriness.
Beeriness. I like that. Thank you very much, Ruth. I would definitely prefer a bit more the bitterness, the dryness, and a bit more sharpness. But as an example of the on-trend style, this is right up there with the best.
Yeah, it is bang on style, isn't it? You can't disagree with that.
If I wasn't reading the can saying it was 8% double IPA, paying any attention to any of that, and someone just passed me a pint of this, I would probably down it pretty quickly.
It's so easy to drink. Ruth, any final thoughts?
I think it's really lovely, and actually, I think you and I are in the together in the anti-Merc bomb camp and desire to see a bit.
Steve's in an anti-Merc bomb.
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Mistaken that with somebody else.
But actually, in this case, it doesn't really matter. I think actually, if the haziness or murkiness, whatever we're calling it, there is a sort of a really well thought out part of the brewing process, and they want to be vegan, which is a big part of it as well. And I don't mind it. I think it works really well. Delicious. I'm kind of hoping we can open the other can if that's allowed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In fact, I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
I am trying to move past the visuals and just trying to work on the flavours. Having had lots of grief from lots of people about being so superficial that I'm only about looks. But
not a word.
It's all about the aesthetics.
Yeah, just to say some of the obviously this one was the beer that was selected by folks on Twitter.
What was it up against?
It was up against Magic Rock Phantasma, which was
that another hazy one as well?
It was hazy, but it was also gluten free as well. So it was the first gluten free beer that Magic Rock have produced, and it was also up against Buxton Stillwater's Subluminal, which was the stout that Buxton and Stillwater produced as a collab.
That was in part of the Ibrea box that came out at Christmas time,
it
wasn't
was, and interestingly for this particular vote, this beer took 50% of the votes. The other two beers were 25% each, so clearly people wanted us to really try this one, and we've clearly moved out of stout season as well for a lot of people.
Yeah, spring to sprung.
Yeah, but some other big releases this month as well, and it'd be great to hear from our listeners if you've drunk any of these and what you thought of them. Beavertown have released what now seems to be their annual Double Chin, which is going to be their celebration beer around about their birthday. Yes, we all know about your exploits on Double Chin last year. Vocation have released a range of pilsners, including one called a Dirty Pilsner, which that appeals to me because I think I can just pair it with dirty chicken and I'd be a very happy man.
But by the time you get to dirty chicken stage, you're out of beer.
Absolutely. Tiny Rebel have released their cans, Kutch, Cali and Club Tropicana, all now available in cans. Verdant have released new cans as well. The highlight of those for me personally being 8 Mansions, which is a collab of Howling Hops. And Brew by Numbers have released their 4th iteration of their DIPA as well, which is 5504.
I've seen some good reviews about that.
Yeah. So those are the other big releases this month, and we'd love to hear if people have been drinking those. But for now, we're going to tuck into this second can
we're finish the rest
of the Deya and Verdant High Plains Drifter. Make sure, if you're in Leeds, to pop into Little Leeds Beer House, say hi to Richard Bryony. Cheers.
Cheers.